Hi.
They were like. All right, so we're here with the assessor, the executive session.
Yes.
Okay. Motion to go into executive session. Second. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay, executive session. Is there anyone you wish to call into executive session at this point?
If Barbara Herbst is available,
I haven't heard her come on. I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
that would be good.
All right. You prefer Joyce to leave during executive session?
Probably, yeah.
And we will move into executive session at 12:53. Everybody else. All right, we're moving out of executive session at 1:59 p.m. Fourth?
I have it as one.
I've got 151. Okay, I'm just clocking off. Which time, 151?
Apple says 151.
All right, we'll take the warning out at 1:51. Out of executive session. And we make the following motion.
After discussion, we are making the following motion, which is essentially a policy. In the event an employee works for Kent and another town equal to a full-time position shared between towns in the same department, the selectmen will consider contributing a portion of an employee's health insurance premium cost as long as the employee will contribute equal to what the town of Kent employee's contribution is.
Second, all right. Any,
Board of Selectmen can't make a policy in executive session like that.
We're not in executive session, we're out of executive session.
But that's the whole conversation and the whole. Oh, never mind, I just don't like.
The idea, I mean, we can talk about the reasoning
Yep.
why. The reasoning why is because we want to make sure that employees that are essentially being shared between towns, that we're providing a fair way for them to receive health insurance and compensation, particularly if they've been promised it as part of a hiring process.
So if they choose to decline it, do they get a portion of the opt-out?
I don't think that should be part of it.
yeah, we just put that in, but they don't get it. Yeah.
Because we are making a decision to contribute toward helping pay for their health insurance. That's what this is specifically about. This isn't actually offering them health insurance. This is contributing toward.
Where are they getting said health insurance?
We haven't specified that.
So, I mean, is it independent or is it from one of the other towns or is it, so how do you know what the premium is? What are we contributing? So if we don't know where it's coming, I mean, we need to know where it's coming from so we know what the premium, so we could pay our portion of it, correct?
Well, we're going to make a second motion to
I'm sorry.
approve the budget request of $10,000 that includes $10,000 for health insurance line.
So we know so this is for Jen, who works for 3 towns, I'm assuming. So we know that her health insurance is $30,000 because we're paying a third of it. In her case, because we're splitting it with the other towns.
That's the ideal situation. Hopefully it'll all work out.
So even the issue if other towns choose not to fund a portion of it, we feel it's important that Kent does recognize the time they put in with the other towns and the benefits we get as our town. for a position, even if it's full, if it's part-time, if it's in the same business area department that's shared by other towns that equal to a full-time position, that the benefit we receive at this town and the benefits that we could now share, or at least with the individual or with the other towns, depending on what the thing is, that's, we would look to consider that to actually compensate for a percentage of whatever the health plan that would be mutually agreed upon, whatever town that we could do it on, either Kent or one of the other towns if they offered another town a benefit.
I apologize, and Jen, I'm not discouraged, I'm just asking for clarity.
Well, it's good, you
Barbara-
brought up a good
In
point.
Barbara's example, like Barbara also works in 2 towns. Because it's 2 towns that she works in, we're gonna write Barbara a check for half of her premium or half of Cornwall's premium.
If it's requested, we will review that request. We're not guaranteeing that we will actually do that. If there's no, if the benefit has been already achieved and an agreement worked on, if they want to come and say, we'd like to, see about splitting the cost, we'll consider that. We might not agree to it, but we may consider it based on history and based on what we need to do. So we're not mandating it. We are saying, each person, each employee has the ability to bring a compensation question to us for a percentage of what they work with here, but we benefit from it in a larger sense. It's the same business area, same department type that they might share across towns. We're going into regionalization in some cases of benefits, not employment, of sharing positions and sharing information. That will be something on file. We're just trying to get out a little front of it. But yeah, there's more to be worked on in this policy. This is more of a, in this instance, we're going to do this with this individual, and we will need to develop that full policy.
So in this case, are we paying Jen or are we paying the town that she has the insurance through?
We'll pay the insurance of the town that she chooses from. We will not pay the individual the money. We will not come, it will be to pay the insurance itself. So we would get the bill for whatever percentage of it is, minus the general percentage that all of our other employees pay for their cost sharing.
I apologize.
No, that's a good point. And I think we do not want to do the opt-out. I think we need to put that in right now. This will not include any opt-out portion for this shared benefit, correct? Would you take that as an amendment?
Sure.
Okay, I think that's important. That because, we do not want to do opt-out. We're only, get there, so. Okay, would you take that as a second?
I'll take that as a second.
Okay. We'll no opt-out portion.
Okay, I need to vote.
Okay, I'll read it again. It's for everything. It's a long one, but yeah, you did a good job. It was very good. Just adding breath, deep breath.
In the event an employee works for Kent in another town equal to a full-time position shared between towns in the same department, the selectmen will consider contributing a portion of an employee's health insurance premium cost as long as the employee will contribute equal to what the town of Kent's employee contribution is. This does not include an opt-out
Yeah.
provision. Is that-
I would say, this includes no provision for an opt-out on this plan.
This does not include a provision.
Provision for an opt-out, because we have a provision for opt-out. Okay. For the provision.
Okay. Good second.
By second,
Okay.
operative word consider. We are considering.
Consider. And it's a portion up, so we could say, we're only gonna do a third, we could do, even if it's 50-50 share, we're saying, well, in that case, you want a different plan than we have, it's less cheaper here, and you want to go to a more expensive one, well, we'll only do 25% or something. It could be a consideration of that benefit of employment. So we have the ability to take a look at that and say, this is how much we think we can pay. Like any other benefit, I think. Any other questions? You have anything else on that? Okay, all in favor of that motion is made. Aye. All right. Okay. Now, you have other things you'd like to talk about, which you presented to us?
The budget change, I don't have my updated letter, but my only change to
Need
the,
a copy of it?
You do have it,
Okay.
228.
Well, no, I'll let you talk.
Yeah, but in red it was
Yeah,
updated,
okay,
yeah.
right, that's, yeah, right.
So I had put out, asked for a price from Vision Government Solutions to host online rather than the Q Public hosting site, and I didn't get the price in time for the budget. So I got it last week, and so it was an increase of.
That's a data processing.
Yeah, they would do it for $4,189. Which I believe was a little more than Q Public, only because we were like one of the first town Q Public gave the previous assessor a really good deal. But the price is now, like in Sharon, when I'm gonna do this is gonna save that money from Q Public division. So here it's a little more, but the benefit of it is the online mapping, I think, is a little better. And the other perk is everybody wants the actual field card they see with Vision, not just what they see online with Q Public. It's not as user friendly. So included in the price is a PDF of the actual card that everybody comes in to see. Or I've been emailing them, there've been requests for those cards rather than what they see online. So there will be it will be frozen, it'll be a static PDF of the current value. So it won't be updated throughout the year.
Encrypted.
It can, but it costs more money to have it updated. So one PDF at the end of the grant list is included with that. So that I think the public would find very, very,
That's a tax mapping line, correct?
it's all part of my data process.
Or just data processing. Okay, so, all right, within that, would you have 23,701?
So it changed to 25,780.
Okay, that's not bad. 780?
25,789.63. So I don't know what part I
Thank you.
did, but
All right, so we
Yeah.
don't have it's an actual increase from last year. I don't know the percentage.
it already was a little increase because of the processing. They always go up a little bit. But then there's.
Actually, it looks like it was a
What
decrease initially in the request. It's actually an increase.
I don't think it was decreased.
Well, last year you had 24 and then you had
Oh, it's
26 actual.
26, yeah.
And then
Well, that's
23,701.
because I think last year when they went to Open Gov
Oh,
in
it's-
the
it is a decrease.
building department, I had to pay a portion.
Yeah, right, you had 26,450, this is 25, so there as an actual, the decrease is not a 10% decrease in that line, so it's probably 3% decrease, maybe. 2%.
So let me just summarize that. I'm understanding, so you'll be changing the interface that the public sees when they go and look.
It'll be, yeah, instead of Q Public, it'll be Vision. But you can go right into the same, I think their card is really formatted just like Q Public
Okay.
for the online search. And then the map has 4 base layers, 20 other layers. So I checked with Ty, I mean, we can make it work. I might have to ask if there would be more cost if she wanted to add other layers, because she piggybacks off my maps.
Yeah.
So, and she said that she has to, I didn't check with Vision yet about more layers. I thought 20 was a lot. But according to Ty, there might be some more layers we could add in, and then if there's a cost, she could, she could absorb some of that extra cost if there is any.
And that's been working pretty smoothly, the Open Gov with your office?
Not yet.
Oh.
I have to give the data I have to do an upload to OpenGov for all the property changes, address and ownership changes. And I also was paying for OpenGov to import the building permits into my Vision system. So we've been working on it for 3 or 4 weeks now to try to get it all streamlined. They're not quite getting my data yet, and I'm not quite pulling in the building permits yet. But it'll be here. I mean, they're up and running. It's just the updates to ownership changes haven't gotten there yet. So
Okay.
it's not like there's that many, and we know how to make it work, because I do it in North Canaan. I know how to make it work if there's somebody with a split that now wants a permit. I know how to add a client or whatever, so It's not holding anybody up, it's just not smooth, it's not running smoothly yet.
Okay. It sounds like you feel like it will be eventually.
I hope so.
Planning it.
That's the plan, meeting emails go out daily,
Okay.
I and myself to get this done.
Okay, cool.
So that will be good once that is running correctly. And that is ahead of other towns. I mean, other towns have it, but they don't have the automatic, and Vision is not charging me for either the upload or the download back and forth where other services do, equality does.
Any issues with the download on that? We talked about, computer compatibility and IT strength and so on.
I don't notice that part of it for Open Gov, that would be Ty's. Maybe it slowed down her server. When we went to Vision, cloud hosting and quality, that slowed our systems down.
Okay. Oh, yeah, well,
That's what did it to me and Debbie. Yeah,
yeah, that was a clean, okay.
That's still not better, or that is.
It will be better.
depends on what you're doing and it depends on how many people are on the working.
Right, it won't open until we get fiber optic in here, till EN comes in, which 4 6 months or whatever. Yeah, but I think, yeah, I haven't heard that they have opened up on that side, but I know every department here it had that issue, IT issue. We can download, not too bad, upload is ridiculous. And it's all the cyber stuff that's put on top of things slows it down anyway, because it all has to make sure that we protection of data and all that, especially with all of them really, but mostly your and tax, anything monetarily, or anything having to do with monetary function, like a grand list and so on, very protected. So we just don't have the infrastructure.
So is this 2,500 to Open Gov, that's not a cost we have to pay this year, or it is?
It is, that is
It is.
my part to pull in the building permits. I will be paying the 2,500. Last year it was more for the setup, for the one-time setup fee.
Gotcha.
We had to add to the budget for that, but that's gone.
Okay.
And I don't know, I don't remember how long the contract is, how long 2,500 stays. And the only other thing is the assistant line. I have to get advertising out there through CAAO, sorry, Joyce, and get another assistant, because one of my goals will be to get that office back open 3 days a week, if I can get somebody to come in. Because Jimmy cut back and I'm absorbed myself, so it's just.
Right. And so do you have an assistant right now?
I have Rebecca who comes sporadically, but she can't be hired full time because policy procedure manual, so I have to replace her. It was just a clerical assistant to help out.
Okay. And so is the job description changing, or?
The job description got done, right, Joyce? That's all
Okay.
set.
That's also.
So I have a assessor's assistant job description to put out.
So the number you're asking for here at 26,957 for next year's for the assistant,
26,750.
I have 26,957.
Maybe Barbara recalculated.
I don't, again, you let her, so
That was, I did
27,50.
another assistant at high end would be 20, because I think it says what the job description says. But, I figured the average, I think it's 20 to 24, isn't it, Joyce?
I'm sorry.
The job description, is 20 to 20, it's a range.
Yeah, it's a range.
So I think I took 22 as like the mid-range, just to get something in the budget.
Okay.
And then there's always been, well, there hasn't always been, but there is again, I believe, the $1 an hour. I have the classes that an assistant could take to further their education and their, qualifications, like Debbie's assistant.
right, which is important.
So I built in, we only have courses once a year, twice if you're lucky, for certain classes, so.
At certain time too, that's not rolling.
The other,
You guys comfortable with the assistant's line? The number, the phone number requested? That's deleted by the numbers.
Barbara might have changed it, because she knows the current assistant salary, and maybe she put in cost of living, I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we have agreed only to a cost of living. At the increase each time, so here it reads my
She has, the bottom of the budget, she has 2704 and 2941. Right, isn't that?
But that's based off of a 3% increase on the current numbers, right?
Additional hours, not just 3%.
So it's these.
So one assistant is 520 hours at 2704, and one's 364 hours at 2941. On the sheet.
What is it?
I didn't.
The assistant one is 520 hours at 2704. And then it says assistant one again, so it's just
That's fine. We've done it.
Upgraded to 2941. So Jimmy is assistant number 2, right? He's only working 7 hours a week.
Work 7 hours a week. Budgeted for 52, I don't know that I budgeted, I mean, I might have budgeted for 50.
Okay, so
But I didn't know, didn't know Jimmy's rate, hadn't seen that when I did the budget.
So
I missed that.
the 520 hours is that's the position you want to fill at $22 an hour.
Sorry?
So the 520 hours is the position you want to fill at $22 an hour.
Yeah, but I don't know why the 2704, that must have been,
That would have been with the other.
no.
But you had
previous-
the but you had the assessor assistant in there before, so she probably took that rate when you had,
So that number needs to be adjusted
No.
down is good.
Jamie wasn't making 27.
So that.
All right, so that's good.
so then you need to relook at that number because it looks
I-
like Barbara has too high of an hourly rate.
I will,
Right, exactly, that's
yeah. I'll talk to Barbara, get that.
Yeah, we get that back in. So we can- Okay.
Yeah, so that's like a $3,000 savings.
Yeah, that would take the total percentage increase off. Yeah.
So are we gonna hire somebody like right now and then give them a 3% raise? In July 1?
It'll be like what you guys do,
Yeah.
your negotiation with your,
Yeah.
partner right now. You can
Okay,
make a
good.
change.
Check.
I think 6, but what's that? Anybody didn't get hired now?
Find anybody between now and July 1 anyway.
Well, you can.
You can.
Right, so that all makes sense to me.
So do Jimmy's with us 3% is what your cost of living?
Yeah. Um, So she didn't include, or she did include that, or she did not?
Well, that's good. That's the question I had, is it?
But maybe the box, I mean, it's 3%, maybe his rate, we don't know.
I don't know.
You have to get that. Yeah, you have to get
That might
that.
have included
Yeah.
that.
So get that, I'll need that by.
Yes, well, no, wait. Yeah, I think we need to get clarity on that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll have to ask for that to clarify your. But please, make sure that if it's. 3%, we don't know. Okay, any other questions, any other comments regarding your other operating budget?
I already went to the personal property camera last year in the budget, so that's the same.
Nothing else? Anything else from us at this point? Just want to get their salary.
Well, I mean, you have a note here that says we'll be doing our own field work again. Just
With the
because we're done
reval-
with the reval?
Reval went out on the building permits. That was part of the price of the revaluation last year. So I'm just pointing out mileage is gonna go back up again. Probably gave some money back last year in mileage, but Jimmy and I will be out doing that again.
Says 30%, but it's $100. So percentage is, yeah, much percentage, but it's only $100.
And I think last year and this year, I put a little more money into mapping in case I get stuck into, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a surveyor, I'm not a title searcher. So if I need some extra money for somebody to come do a title search or get a surveyor to clean up some certain lines or, help with deeds, I've got a little extra in the mapping line to pull from there for that sort of thing.
Okay.
I don't have to come before you. Usually the previous assessor would say, no revalue, you might want to increase the legal line. I can speak to the reval that I only had 14 appeals, 3 of which aren't real estate appeals, they're 490 appeals. And none of those
490
appeals, I don't feel that any of those appeals, other than, I'm not saying they're not warranted appeals, but I don't think they'll go into court. So they can be managed through the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Right.
And I don't really foresee a real, legal line, need for an increase in legal line.
And the 490 appeal, what exactly is that?
I had sent out a Farm 490 update
Okay.
for anybody that hadn't updated in the last 5 or 10 years. And so there were a few people that I have, they're no longer farming, so.
So does that mean that there's any kind of penalty?
They're not in penalty, no, they were all outside of penalty periods, it was just
Oh.
a clean up. Are you still having, if you have a lot of land and you're able to have it hayed, you get a qualified farmer to hay that land, you
Right.
qualify for this farm. If you had a farm, well, I had a couple of people that were farmed that are no longer farming, so. This one case, they had 3 pieces and they're appealing my decision to the board.
Not that you have to speak for Board of Assessment Appeals, but I don't see anything more than the 3%, or at least those were over, but it just had the 3%. There's nothing in the zoning board of appeals.
I don't,
Or next to me, the
their budget.
assessment.
No,
I know.
that's true.
I understand. I'm just curiosity.
We wind up doing all their clerk work, we prepared and everything for them as part of ours. Because
Right.
they don't really have a formal clerk, we pick up the slack for that, but.
Yeah, I'm just anticipating anything that can over into their area, you can speak.
I would recommend to the chairman this year that he needs to increase because of any.
Yeah.
Well, that would have really been last year, he should have increased it. It was necessary, but this.
It's not the job at the end of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
They may wanna take a look at it, because usually after people get their tax bills, and then next year, they might appeal a year later. So there is a possibility of that.
Okay, we'll query him for Wednesday as well, if there's any additional information that he needs to provide to us for that. Okay.
Can we ask her about the green list? Because you
Yeah,
said.
absolutely. No, yeah.
I mean, this is a big deal, I think. I mean, I actually cannot remember.
Did you get,
Yeah, and I don't remember it being that big of an increase.
I'm not sure that it was.
I mean, I look back like 5 years ago and
It
10 years
wasn't,
ago.
it wasn't between the last 2
Yeah,
or 3 revals, no.
yeah.
No, like the 18 reval, that was 0.5.
So why the big jump?
The value, the market after COVID just took off, it exploded, and then the lack of real estate on the market bumped the prices up as well. So supply and demand, just they were paying more money. And this town has, it was 36%, so an overall increase of 31. Sharon was 46%, some towns are 50%. And they've been like that for the past 2 years. And it's still trending that way for the next one, probably.
Yeah, you can make a lot of money selling a house, good luck trying to buy one you can afford to
And
buy.
that's what I found interesting was it wasn't like there were many new houses. The stock is all pretty much the same. It's just,
We had some new construction and big new construction here,
okay.
but.
But isn't that what, when it says like real estate accounts? Does that terminology mean like a house or what is
No,
that account?
parcels.
Okay, so you could,
Either vacant or, built on. Yeah.
okay,
Improved, unimproved. That's accounts. Motor vehicle went down a little bit because again, a couple years ago, it went up because you couldn't find cars, you couldn't, used cars went up in value. The grand list for motor vehicles went up. Now it's back to pretty much normal. So it's gone back
I
down.
was looking for those that are sneaking their New York vehicles in without.
Gold.
What's that? Gold, I know that, there you go, I think it's fun. A couple people I know, maybe they did that.
I mean, I guess the important thing is, and I know this is way beyond the assessor, but just because the grand list goes up doesn't mean that people's taxes automatically go up. Right?
Yeah, the
It's
bill.
important for people to remember.
Absolutely, if we look at this,
Yes.
yeah, and people will be watching us to see if the bill rate stays the same or goes down, that's what they're
Yes.
looking for, because of the value.
After the
So,
budget process, too.
absolutely.
Levy over list.
Okay.
Yeah,
Make
good,
that
good point.
Well, it's important.
Yes, it is.
When the bills came out, they're all freaking out, thinking that the taxes are gonna go up.
We told everybody as they call,
Yeah.
hold on, wait a second. And then when they really sit back and look at the market value we have on the house, in most cases, let's be honest, you could probably use that value, so.
Yeah, and people are, that's where yeah. Which helps the town as well, that's all part of it,
Probably great work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. When,
I'll get you those other numbers by Wednesday, and you want me to send,
yeah.
printed off the
Okay.
calendar and the things for
We're
the,
gonna stay, we're gonna take a super fast 3 minute, just so if you have to use the bathroom. Water.
these are the reports I read. 1.30.
Just to kind of say, I do have a meeting at 3, so I can have a hard stop, so I.
Gotcha, that's fine. I would like to take, until we get our next tax collector, next person here. There was a question about our budget process regarding the $12,500 and what our actual intent was. There's some potentially confusion of if that money was targeted only for those that had, in our budget process, that had requested a raise, or it was for us to evaluate across all the areas and then work with that person. We did the objectives and so on, that whether or not we'd be evaluating that. And then with now, which is currently we voted on for $12,500 limit or, budget for a line item to go against, adjusting salary basis based on the assessments or objectives, excuse me. My belief when we made that recommendation and when we talked about the money was that would go across all different departments. It would not just be targeted to those going in for, a salary increase. There's a few that said, we're fine, I'm okay. Others have said, 0, they weren't sure what they were going to put in. Others put, whatever, a large, they just wanted a certain percent, which is fine. I just want to clarify with the board, our intent, we all in agreement or any discussion on whether we need to change our intent or motion or anything else about exactly what our intent was. I believe our intent was to look at all other departments, all evaluations of objectives and so on for the next year, within the first 90 days of the fiscal year, to make the assignment wherever we, in our position, and with working with the individual departments themselves, employees themselves, to look at where we could target that 12,500. It was not just for those that had requested a raise.
Yeah, I agree.
Understand the board.
I understand.
I understand. Okay. I don't think we even need a raise if we've already done that, but for anyone who asked on this, and we'll make sure that just goes in minutes, just like a reestablishment of what our intent actually was, that we did vote on that. So it is for all departments, all individuals who work here, that work on the performance objectives, that within the 90 days, between July 1st by September 30th, we will have had a chance to review objectives, and individuals come to us, discuss what their objectives, how they're doing, what additional help they may need on that, get meeting those objectives. But at that point, then we would sit and allocate that towards the base of the salaries we felt was the right way to go with that, assignment of that 12,000. We could come back before we go and ask for more money if we decide to come back on that. But right now it's 12,500 in the across the board review, not individual.
Do we want to also say that people should be looking at their job descriptions? If you're prepared to
Yeah.
talk about that as part of.
I think so. I think absolutely. I think if we wanted to, probably should discuss that and make a motion on updating job descriptions. Do we, no? To make sure that we have, so that people are, so it becomes I think it's a requirement.
Policy and procedure manual that they should be updated every 2 years, and since they include salaries that are now outdated, they do need to be redone.
Okay. Probably need
So
to.
they should all be looking.
I'll be looking, yeah.
Be looking at their job.
This before, we had, meetings, everybody got together and did a little coffee and talk about stuff, and we talked about performance objectives, and I do have, I'll share that with you. Some of the, what I believe, again, this is what we have had discussed. These were some examples, some areas to look at in general. It's not a specific, it was just like people like, what is an objective? What do we really mean by that? I got definitions and things like that. And I think it was all keeping, and I gave them one example in New York State had a police manual that talked about objectives and, and how you do, how you write it, what are you looking at? There was a question regarding, do we need to have one specific form, or is it different? I do an email, someone else does back of an envelope, someone else does a formal spreadsheet, a Gantt chart, if you will, or something of that nature. I said, no, but I think what we'll do, within the next month or so, we'll get some, just to see if there's a general outline of how we want it to look, so it stays consistent across the board. But I also wanted them to be able to say, I do it different, I look at it a little different. I want them to have that, individualism based on their job and their job performance and their objectives on that, to be able to have an ability not to be locked in. Because some of the ones I've used in my previous experience, the times I'm looking at that, a box that I'm like, clue what I'm supposed to put in there. And I don't want anybody to feel penalized because they don't put something in. I want to be able to work with them, but I think if we, as a board, do that the next month, maybe by March or probably by March, we'll have something outlined of an outline of an
You mean
objective.
May?
May? Yeah, well,
Not March, we're in March right now.
within March, okay, that's right. April, May, that we'll have some kind of a form, outline of a form where that they can, use as a base. They can modify it as necessary, but something as a base. There's about 8,000 different forms out there. Some of them are like very intrigued. Some are just like, this is my objective. This is, why I'm having this objective. This is the day I expect to have it on. And this is my progress today. Update it as I go. Be simple that or more involved depending on that's what they bring. It's a multi-area objective, So
When you talk to them, did you talk to them about objectives that are for the next 6 months or for the next fiscal year?
we talked about the fiscal year. We talked about based on, there was questions like, are we evaluating what they did last year? Because we're in this year's budget now. And I'm like, well, you can base your objectives off of what you expected to do, but I didn't see anybody submit, this is what I'm planning on doing this year. Now you have, your mission, you come and say, here's what I'm gonna do in the budget. And that's budget focused, but actually I want it to be more objective of your office, what you expect to do. Training, evaluation may not be a budget item. I mean, budgetary, like if there's numbers you can associate to it, it could be just, more emails out to people, like I said, better, review of my writing skills or something like that, improve, that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. That's, that may be one of my objectives. I don't know. But, that's the kind of thing that isn't not a terribly objective, but yes, we did. Like it was open to just about any kind of discussion, but I wanted to get them understanding what I believe was our intent. And that was a big part of it was like, is that 12 only for people that requested it? I said, no. But it's a work in progress. It's just an example piece. It wasn't how I said, there's no permanent requirement to follow that norm, but those are some of the 4 areas of customer performance, communication, teamwork. Are you doing remission? Are you able to do it? If their issue is, I can't get enough people to work there, how do you do it? How do you divide up the work? If we have some people said, I can't get an assistant, or I can only get it part-time, or assistant needs more training hours, or I need to, spend a little bit more time with that individual, getting them up to speed, monitoring them. Those are good evaluation forms objectives. Anyway. Our tax collector.
She's collecting money right now.
Taxes, okay, good. What taxes? Bring taxes. I'll send you that. Put that together over the weekend. And that website is interesting because it's part of the New York State government manual, so it's more towards what we do as a municipal. I mean, I could have given you 10,000 military ones, and I don't think anybody wants those. It's very interesting. We'll try to, it'll summer out of, the private sector and business, but one of the ones they want retention. I'm like, retention, interesting. Was retention of sales. You sell 20 companies something this year, you need to keep 15 or 18 of them, on your list of what we're doing from that per se. I thought it was retention of people. I'm like, well, we don't really lose too many people that way, but so anyway. So we okay with, what we're doing tomorrow night and Monday, or, I don't know how Thursday looks in case we need to have one more at some point. Last Thursday, we had issues, but if we're gonna be reviewing and revisiting a few others, hopefully it's more, cleaning up some of the questions and so on, but we have questions out to those, grants and associations from last week. We sent them out on the weekend, so hopefully we'll hear some more from that. Some explanations.
If we do Thursday, I can't do noon. It's
Okay.
gotta be probably 2 earliest.
We'll see, but we can look at tomorrow, so that'll still give us a 48-hour look if there's any change to that.
We talked about possibly changing, and my brain, I can't remember, but we talked about changing the agenda for Wednesday. You guys remember? You talked about that on Friday.
We did, I think, we want to be more specific about the agenda, right?
Well, I remember we were.
Because it says budget discussions.
adding-
You want to?
Well, I thought it was something we were gonna add.
Right now it's up already.
What's that?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah, I agree, we did. Okay, well, I'll tell you now, I'm gonna withdraw the change of assignment. We're not gonna, it was a budget item.
Oh, that's
because
what
it-
it was, yeah.
Yeah, budget that, right, because it was, I submitted under the budget because it was a change, a change of classification, but also had a budget, a component to that $500. Well, I'm gonna go back and relook at that. I had some discussions again and look back at what we thought about it. I said, yeah, we need to go back and prep a little bit more of what we're doing. More background on her original job description, or the current, the current one we have. Yeah, the incumbent, I think it was kind of old. Anyway, when I went back to see to send it to you, it wouldn't make any sense unless we had a chance to talk. And I don't want to, it doesn't necessarily have to hold up our budget issues now, bringing that in. If we drop the component of the budget component, that's not really a budget item, it's a policy or it's a procedure item we can do in March or something at a regular meeting. We don't have to bring that in. So, yeah, March is going to go quick. Yeah. I don't know if there's any issues with, if we get towards the celebration of Easter, if there's issues with anybody's time, Thursdays and Fridays will be of that Easter week. I can't do anything there. I don't know what, I think a presentation obviously is going to be before then. Just a board select.
Right.
Yeah, pretty close. And then Wednesday is when we do the presentation. Easter, I think that's. I think it's that next
31st. Yeah.
Correct.
Sorry I'm late.
It's okay.
Sorry?
Never come between Hannah and his Harley.
No, it's true. I went out to Colorado, never been out there, or excuse me, Arizona, and had his Harley shipped out, so we could have it. Cost him more to ship it than it did for the whole vacation. But yeah, don't.
Ask what I don't know.
No, exactly. Okay, we're gonna open up to you, you know, we read your material, your.
My basic thing
Yeah,
is, I'm probably not gonna do this in the next 30 years. Shot. When you look at the salary of what the tax collector gets, it is the lowest paid head in the building. To me, that's disgraceful. Tax collector should not be at the bottom of the rung. It's a job that you need. You can argue that you need every job, but you really need to collect money. So that's my basic premise. You've got to bring it up to a standard that's acceptable, or nobody's going to want to job. Because it's not easy. It's a simple job. You collect money, but that's it, folks. I can give you all the rhyme and reason and anything else you want to hear. As far as goals and things, I collect almost 100%. I've been elected 15 times. This last time, I got over 90% of all the votes cast. I got more than all you guys get put together. So, you know, people, somebody must think I belong here. So I don't know what you want. I try to keep the office up to date. People can go online, they can pay online. It's a part-time office, but I think the whole building could be part-time if you want to know the truth. So that's my opinion. So I'm not going full-time. That would be ripping the town off. But I think it should be paid. And you're not doing that. It's a disgrace.
But the fact that it's part-time doesn't, in your view, doesn't influence what the salary should be?
No, I'm doing the job. How much more am I going to do if I sit in that office for another 12 hours a week? I'm not going to hit 100% ever. I'm in 99.5. I'm not going to hit that last 0.5% by sitting there. That's not doing a job, that's sitting. I don't act that way. So if you think people would pay faster if I was sitting there, I don't think so. There's no reason to waste time sitting in an office. I don't do that.
Are there times when your assistant's there and you're not? Like, do you guys spread out the workload, or do you just
We're here 3 days a week.
3 days a week? And regardless of whether you're both there or one of you's there, it's 3 days
There's
a week.
always something to be done.
Yeah.
I'm not saying in those 3 days we sit around with our hands folded. I don't think I could do it in less than 3 days. I do enough to get the job done, and I keep saying I can't get the job done much better than I'm doing. I can't collect 112%.
If you're out, for whatever reason, your assistant is competent enough, you feel.
That's one of my goals.
Okay.
She's been to all of the classes. She is in the midst of being certified. There's a time limit and an exam she has to take. That's a requirement. You don't walk in the job unless you're qualified,
Gotcha, okay.
which I think should be a rule in every office. If there are courses to be had, take them.
Aside of the compensation and the salary lines and so on, your data processing line just went up a little bit. Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that? Is that just the programs you have to use to take online?
Quality data is used by 100 and I should know this, out of 169 municipalities plus sewer commissions, they, I think, are at 165. So they kind of set the pace.
Okay, so it's,
I never call them up and say, hey, Leo, why'd you charge this extra $5? You
So
know?
this is a charge, then this isn't something like you're adding another program or there's no piece of
No.
equipment that has to go into it. It's the actual feed from the data
And
process.
this is, the last thing we added with quality was going into the cloud.
All right.
And the reason I did that is this was a few years ago in Torrington. All of Torrington went down because their data was stolen. The tax collector's office was the only one that didn't because they went to the cloud. And this is, I don't do computer speak, but it was, it's supposed to be the best program around, so. And as far as credit cards have been very helpful this year. We've collected a
That's a good-
boatload
that's
of
a
money.
good- That's a good.
And e-checks. So that's done. I don't think there's too much to upgrade on that at the moment. Because there again, those things, once you get in the program, they're upgraded automatically. I don't tell them what to do. So that's about it.
Okay, I understand what you're.
Any new changes that have happened that are from like the state that are impacting what you have to do in the office?
Whatever the state tells me to do, I do. We don't have a cap on, because our bill rate is so low, we don't cap our automobile taxes. So I don't get involved in any of that. And actually, a lot of that would be done through the treasurer's office anyway. But we don't qualify for that. Our mill rate's too low.
Yeah, I asked that question, so I don't beat up a truck. Okay.
You have a polite reply.
I did, yes, I did. That's what point is where-
Stick around.
No, I didn't. I got this plan. I appreciated the time.
No, and I don't need to be flip. I think people know that this is a small town. You're never really off the job. We've all learned that. If somebody has a question, they don't wait until 9 o'clock in the morning to call you about it. They will ask you when they see you or when they pick up the phone or whatever. So that's the reality of living in a town. But getting back, I really think you need to raise the salary just because it's too low. And I don't think I'm gonna get the job done any faster or any better if you do or don't.
Okay.
So
Can I ask what you think the salary should be?
I think it should be comparable with the three other, with the treasurer. And that's only because we're all the financial side.
If you don't have a dollar amount when you.
Yeah, I put it in my,
Yeah, here.
put it in my budget.
I'm
It's
sorry, I
in,
didn't see that.
it's in the budget.
Okay.
Or
Put it in the-
it was
Used for that.
how it was, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's, it's like $6,000, which percentage wise is huge. In the real world, it's not a terribly huge number. It's less than the cost of a car. So I don't mean to give you
No,
less information, but I really,
no, that's, it's just about the
this is
opportunity.
what I have.
Yeah, I would appreciate it. Pretty straightforward, I appreciate it.
Thank you for waiting.
It's okay, thank you for waiting. Yeah.
I'm glad the man paid his bills, so.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Great, thank you, Deb. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't argue, she still has, but how we get there and, plan that we have in place. By that, obviously, to do the evaluation. There's some things I think that she can do, and she recognizes that. That, show that objectives in progress, so. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, there's, obviously longevity is the longest.
Yeah.
Longevity is, so, sure, yes.
She's not even arguing for herself, she's arguing for the future.
For the future, yeah, exactly. Yep.
Has COG done a salary survey?
They did, they came out and had to be redone, and I just got the new, which isn't, it's about,
You share that.
Like the
I'll share it, I thought you guys.
But
I'll send it out to you.
Not that we're gonna make a decision.
No, but it's good, next couple of days, we can look it over, and if you want to just chew on what we see, we're not, in some cases, not too far off across the board. If you look at that, look at Harwinton, to me, I mean, we look around in the COG itself, we look at our region, some of it doesn't really go apples, oranges, apples, grab apples, kind of maybe close, but Harwinton is more when I see more the business side of things, the numbers of people and so on. You look at salaries, there's a real difference because they have a lot more full-time people than we have part-time, and they're a bit different, so. But that's, again, the comp, you know, you could look at it as a comp, and say close or not, but we're not too, I don't think we're too far off, in my view. But I think overall, like we said before, I think that we need to look at that adjustment. I think we're on the right path to do that across the board. But the objectives and so on. You know, and do that quickly, so we're not waiting again from a year from now to do it. We need to have that in place. And
Do we need to review like what we're looking for, or you and Joyce have all talked about that? Like holes in the budget that we're waiting for.
oh, you about the ones that haven't submitted anything again?
Yeah, or like
Okay.
are we clear on all the information that we need more information on?
I think we are. I think we
Okay.
talked about that, and we've asked, you know, again, what 66% on the short, you know, is that everybody getting that? You know, is it just us? Is it, how does that work? And breakdown of exactly what that $12,000 changes. I know I gave you the overall, what the guy gave us overall, but we've asked, Joyce sent a letter to Sunday, I believe, saying, hey, because we don't know when to work. He's working before 2 o'clock most days, to please, you know, here's some specifics from our meeting. So I think we're getting, you know, we're going to get the areas that we've been concerned with, to dig in a little bit more. Yeah. And I think.
Like, I wouldn't mind if you reviewed the ones, just to make sure that we are prepared. I requested something from Chore Services, Northwest Connecticut Transit. I need to talk to you about paramedic, because I never saw the original email, so, but I have that on my list.
Which one?
Paramedics.
Oh, paramedic, yeah, yeah.
So I'd love to know who to contact on that, because I didn't even see the email.
Yeah, okay, I'll find that, yeah, I'll do, if I send it to you, but anyway.
What else?
Yeah. And then the COG, I mean, was one, COG 7, and with no change, it's no change, again, I.
Were there other ones, Lynn, that you were looking for that I can follow up on?
Dig back. Anything that was,
Some of it is making sure we're correct with Barbara.
Documents.
Yeah, like the Board of Finance clerk needs to be adjusted, it needs to be 3%.
Exactly.
She will be at Wednesday's meeting.
yeah, she was, yeah, it's very.
I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we could
Get it before that.
update it. Well, I don't know.
She might be able to, I mean, the numbers, you know, there's some numbers like 4%, some of them haven't changed. Or she hasn't changed, although we have, that should need to be updated.
She did ask us to reach out to her if we had any changes before that meeting, so if you want me to have her go back and put all salaries back at 3%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
we need the
then
total number.
We just talked to Jen about the assessor assistance.
Okay.
So that needs to be adjusted.
Yeah.
To reflect that she wants to hire somebody the
$22 an hour.
Yeah, the $22 an hour, 520 hours.
Yeah, she's gonna update that, her numbers, so Jen and send it to
Processing
Barbara.
number withdrawals to that line.
Her- Yeah, get there.
And we need to reach out to them besides just Barbara.
I think she has the ability to changes.
If you, yeah.
You have approved so little.
I know, but again, and I agree, yeah, looking at it, we proved how much you're good, but I know what we did, but some of them need the numbers to be adjusted. You know, they wanted to keep the number until we actually talked to them. You know, we didn't, in South Park, we didn't have any number, things like that, so.
Sounds like the big approval is gonna be Wednesday.
I'm hoping that if we get there, I'm hoping, yeah,
So-
so that Thursday would only be if there was somebody left over, we should go back one more. And usually after tomorrow night, I think we'll hit most of them. If there's something else, then if we had, I don't know, which Friday morning will look like for you guys? Well, I leave at like 1 o'clock. I could come in late in the morning.
No, we don't need to spread this out.
No, I'm just saying, but if we had more questions and something else came up in the Wednesday
I'd
following.
really love to have it done on Wednesday.
I agree with you. I think we can. I just don't know if some people coming in, tax collectors or town clerks gonna come in, if there's other issues brought up there that, you know, we might have to go back and relook at.
If we can clean up as many things as we need right now that you're saying, if we have that, and then we need Barbara here
Should we get Wednesday?
Wednesday. I think Wednesday, we sit down and how long it takes, that's how long it takes.
Yeah, it's noon again, so.
I got
I took nothing in the afternoon.
I got all that. So
And I think, you know, if we haven't received a request, we're gonna go with what we gave them last year.
Yeah, and that's, I was raising what Barbara had, but I'd asked her, so, you know, what about these, some of these, the grants and things that were going out, that, yeah, nobody.
we have to start with.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah,
Did we ever get anything about EMS staffing or no?
that's all right. That's all right, yeah.
We never had got narrative?
Breakdown, no, you'd asked,
I asked for it.
you'd asked for them, I haven't seen it yet. I assume they're gonna come in. There's a couple other things that, based on what you said, that I'm sending them to make sure at least they bring them tomorrow night.
On them,
Like they have, yeah,
I
on,
need to see that before. We need to see that.
no kidding.
Yeah, we can go online on that.
I'm hoping that they have, I don't know if they have meetings.
The other thing that we haven't really talked about is police protection in terms of Andy's request. We've never really discussed that.
Yeah, we did have the number, Barbara does have that in there.
I know, but his request is to have a second trooper.
Oh, Andy Joseph.
Yeah. I wonder, I just
To
wonder,
make a motion on that, we'll make one right now. Yeah.
I wonder, at one point I think it was last budget year, you guys talked about additional overtime hours?
Yes, we did, yeah.
So do we know how many overtime hours that we've been charged for? Do we know that?
Today we should.
I don't know off the top of my head. I
No,
mean,
but is that something we could find out?
Yeah, that would be helpful.
And can we know that for more than just like the current year? Can we know how much we were charged in previous years? Because that would be helpful to know if it's really needed or.
Yeah, and we were looking at, with our own ability to move a little bit of money around in that line, in those lines of the resident trooper and talking to, Troop Al about the summer, where it really gets hot, July, August,
Yeah,
that timeframe, trying to make sure we have money left over. If it's before July, we'll get in May, on our budget, current budget year next year, that we could cover, the overtime. And we were sure that the money, or the budget there sent us was gonna have that in there, in the overall, the troop numbers. If, just for comparison, Vicky Donahoe is similar to Andrew Fisher. So that number is what we got.
in terms of salary and.
Salary benefits, everything from the troop L already. So that's what's currently, if you look at there, it says.
But we went, the number that's in here right now is lower.
Comparable, I wouldn't say exactly, it is a little bit lower, but that is what they sent us. So,
I think that's because some of that extra overtime is taken out of that number. There was extra overtime in there and then I think it was
Yeah, it
taken
was.
out. They budgeted last year for like, for,
I thought that all got removed though.
not all of that, I don't think. There was
I think
A
that.
little bit,
a wiggle room in there.
because that was one of the cuts that you guys made, was to get rid of the overtime, I thought.
For that, I don't think they have any.
Even my overtime is also like parades and all of those
Yeah.
are traffic control
They
and
were
that
still-
sort of thing, so. We have to leave some, but I think that the projection, the first request was to include like. I can forget that big number, it's almost like half time, like 20 hours a week or something extra, I don't know if the number is off, but then it did get cut back, so. We can look to see.
Yeah.
I'll get more information on what that requested from Barbara, and then we could see exactly what she put in the budget if you want to tweak that number up or down.
Yeah, I think that's smart, because I would like to feel responsive to Andy's concern. I'm not a huge fan of the second trooper idea, but I think I understand the concern about having additional police presence in town.
and we've noticed we have had an increase from the barracks, or two from, had more people down here, we had more this weekend. But in regards to fiscally what we're looking at, and I don't have numbers to put in any budget item this year at this point for speed cameras, which is part of Amy's concerns, the speeding.
Yeah.
And that's what, state troopers, like I said, at the middle of town, meeting with state troopers and with the chiefs of police, that's where it's just such a manpower intensive thing to put in there, that when they need other community patrols or schools, or whatever, they don't have as many people out during the day when they have people speeding. And so that a speed camera system that's been allowed would be very helpful, and, it would curb speeding. It's proved, of course, to the company, it's proved to reduce speeding, but it's also, been a revenue generator, but not neutral. And there's always been more cost, I think, in some cases, and the smaller town like us, big towns like, even New Milford, they're gonna make more money, they have a lot more. And they have more traffic, and they're gonna catch more, and so the numbers have been that they can actually buy more cameras with and there are only 4 or 5 specific items that the legislature said you can use that money for, that you collected. And it's more police protection, which could be overtime, again, or more cameras, improvements to the road, improvements to like things like adjusting speed across Boulder Bridge, which we did fill in some potholes down there.
Thank you.
Yeah, but very good. Yeah, well, Rick, yeah, it was really on top of that. But anyway, but but there are other things you can do for that'll help, and kind of help each other as it grows. That program could be for our town, especially with about 7 by your house coming down and zipping into bringing in town, all the way to the race car track that was out there Sunday again with motorcycles leaving. So I think that, it's an important thing.
So you're saying we
Reason why.
don't know how much it's gonna cost them?
Well,
And is that where it would go, police protection?
there's 5 different areas that the
No, I'm
legislature.
saying the
Okay.
expense
What
would
would
go.
No, we'd have to look at where actually it would sit. And we have to put the cemetery in here, by the way, too, which is, not its own, line item. I'll pick that up on my, I think. But yeah, we'd have to
We
find.
can't approve this budget without a cemetery.
Oh, I agree. No, I
can't.
know, we can't. You're right. So it's gotta be put in.
I've done as much legwork as possible before Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday's a big day.
Yeah,
Exactly. Do this. Just a.
Yeah, no, you're not. Sorry. Okay, so anything else with, right now? Nothing else?
If you think of something, then email me.
Okay.
Thanks. All right.
I mean, the cemetery's big.
Yeah, what is the cemetery? Right, is there a motion again? Motion.
Are you clear on all those additional, I mean, is Barbara gonna be setting these, or do we need to like tell Barbara what we think the cemetery should be?
Marty and I will talk later and we will send Barbara an email to get these things.
Yeah, we'll put you guys
But
on.
I'm getting the additional information requested that wasn't in the shared folder so that she can add it, but also I'll share that with you as I get it.
Because there were all those like little incidentals that they never really put in writing about what they spent money on, like Jonathan Matson and that mapping company and that kind of thing. So we need to make sure we're covering that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. No, sorry. No, well, he didn't actually make the motion. But yeah, we'll keep you CC'd on that. See, if it comes up and you go, hey, this too, then we'll give it that. Sure we know.
It's a big week.
Yeah. All right. All in favor?
Motion to adjourn at 3:00 PM.
Yes. Okay. Second motion. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Joyce.